guys, welcome back. So I'm gonna continue doing these X-Men movie reviews, and the next stuff on this list that came out back in 2009, and it's called X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I have right here. Okay, so to me, it's kind of hard to go to films and just be like, that's a really fucking terrible ass movie. Fuck that movie. Just cause I know no one goes out of their way to make a bad movie. Everyone tries to put their heart and soul, or just at least give some effort into making this movie, making any movies or shows. But honestly, with this one, it's just one of those bad movies where it's just it to me. I think, in my opinion, it's honestly one of the worst superhero movies of all time. Like. And it's just so weird how we started off with X-Men 1, X-Men 2, just really solid movies into this franchise. And then we get to 3, like I say, it's kind of like a mediocre run-of-the-mill. But then we get to this one, just it even steps even further down from the pool. And it's just it's how did we get here? We had a solid start and we just kind of okay, whatever. So I'm gonna try to go through each of the points of this movie. Try to go in order, but I'm gonna try my best. I'm probably gonna go all over the place about this movie. And just to let you know, spoiler, I'm gonna go through all the spoilers, all the things. I think just good to let out my full thoughts about this movie. So just a warning. But at the same time, I feel like you guys should not go out and watch this, to be honest. I'm gonna let you know right now. But if you have to, go ahead. If you're a big Wolverine fan, the biggest, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna give that a shot, then go ahead. But like I said, I don't think it's that good to even go out and watch or even rent. But it starts off in the 1800s, so it makes sense. They even talked about in the first movie that Wolverine might be older than Charles Xavier. So it's in the 1800s, and he has a brother, which I'm like, okay. And the brother ends up being Sabretooth. Yeah, the same Sabretooth we got to see in the first X-Men movie. And they had no relation to each other. They didn't even talk to each other at all. But then this one, they made them brothers. And I always thought that was kind of odd. Because I've said this before. Wolverine and Sabretooth, they have this big rivalry with each other. But I guess instead of being well, just random people just having this big rivalry like Peter Griffin and the chicken and the Family Guy skits, they decided to be well, they're brothers, so that's how they know each other. That's how they've been having this rivalry with each other. So I could kind of get that, but to me it's still kind of weird, I guess. But that's fine. And when you find the way Wolverine discovers his powers, having these claws, he has bone claws at first, and honestly, I don't really hate the bone. I've seen people like, oh, fuck those bone claws. They look fucking weird. And I'm like, nah, I don't mind it. To me, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then he ends up killing this dude. Okay, so you see his dad. His dad gets killed by this other dude, but ends up being his real dad. And then he kills his real dad. And I'm just like, I don't know why. I just think that's just so convoluted and funny. Instead of being, oh my god, he killed his real dad, and it was I don't know. I always thought that was funny. So he ends up going on the run, and Victor, no one Sabretooth, he goes on the run with him. So their brothers going on the run, and then they skip to this. Honestly, it's actually a pretty good opening. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's them going through war, the wars throughout time, them going to both World War One and World War Two, going to Civil War, and all of those stuff. And I thought that was pretty good opening. I think they should have done that for the whole movie. Them have this movie about Wolverine going through wars, and I think that would have been, more interesting. Seeing he can't die, he's essentially immortal, and he's seen all these people, maybe he's getting close with them and stuff like that, but they just end up dying in front of him and getting killed and stuff like that. I think that would have been more interesting than what we end up getting. But while we're showing this, it was also showing Sabretooth being more unhinged and Wolverine's more like the more calm and collected. And so I like that. And then so one day they end up getting captured because Sabretooth go off the fucking rails. No, no shocker. Oh, another thing too. Sabretooth is played by a different actor. I can't really think of his name on top of my head, but he's not the same guy from the very first one. Um, Kind of makes sense, I guess. Like just to make him more like since they're going out with a brother relation, so they're like, oh, let's kind of get an actor that kind of make it look like, oh yeah, we have Wolverine and Sabretooth related, so you could kind of see the similarities to it. So I get that, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird how you go from Sabretooth having like short, like, and he's like calm. Well, he's like more. He has more, like, he's talking more, he's so, like, vicious, where we get to this, like, we see him in the first X-Men movie, and it's just, like, he has long hair, he barely even talks, he just growls most of the time. um, so I think that, it's, like, that's just weird. But anyway, and they don't explain how he gets to that point, but anyways. And then they end up getting captured, and then they end up getting recruited by Stryker, like, the same dude. Well, the same character from the second X-Men movie, played by a different actor. Not gonna be the first, not gonna be the last. and so he gets recruited, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be part of the like, I think the Task Force X," which is like, okay, that's cool. And you see these other mutants, where it's like you see Wade Wilson, played by Ryan Reynolds, like, so before the Deadpool movie, like, I thought that was pretty cool. You even get to see the Blob before he's. And we'll get to him later, but yeah, he's Blob, but he's not, fat yet. And let's see. You see this? I think his name is like Agent Zero, something like that. This Asian character. But yeah, his name is Agent Zero, something like that. He's like a gunslinger in a way. Like he's really good at shooting guns. And who else? Oh, and you have Will.i.am being a transporter, like like Nightcrawler. He could go from one place to the other, but it's Will.i.am, which I'm like, to me that right there, that always just takes me out of the movie. I'm like, why do you have Will.i.am in this movie? But oh well. And then you also have this other dude, that he could just like, I don't know, mess with the electricity. It's yeah, I don't know. It's not that interesting, but oh well. And then some shenanigans happen. Wolverine's like, fuck this, I'm out. And then they have like a 6-year time jump, which is like, okay. To me, it was just weird. Like, so far, this movie is just really oddly, like, chopped up and, like, really oddly paced. Like, we go from seeing Wolverine being a little kid, going to, oh, now he's going through the war. They get captured, they get recruited, and they end up going with this mission. I think you literally only see them going on this one mission, and then Wolverine's like, yeah, fuck this, and then like a 6-year time jump, and it's like, I don't know why. To me, I was like, oh, like we're going like bam, 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 and it's just like, oh, okay, like a lot of shit just happened in the first 30 minutes, and you're just like, oh shit, like what the fuck. Yeah. So after the 6-year time jump, you see Wolverine's with this lady, and they're together, and it's like, how did they meet? How did they get together? And it's like, okay, I guess they're madly in love with each other. And then, whatever. And then Major Stryker, he ends up coming back, finding them, and is like, hey, like, we need you because I guess Sabretooth is going around killing, like, the old members of the team. He's like, so we need you to go stop him. And he's like, nah, I'm good. Until this dude ends up killing Wolverine's wife, girlfriend, whatever. She ends up even giving him his name, the Wolverine, and in such a boring ass way. I always skip through it because I'm just like, I don't care what you're even saying. I don't care. And it's just so weird because it's like, you're supposed to care because that's how he gets his name, the Wolverine. And it's like, to me, I'm like, I could care less how he's getting. I don't know. So he ends up killing his wife, whatever. And so he's like, okay, now I'm going to go after Sabretooth. So he goes up to Stryker, and they're like, there's a way you could stop him. And it's like, they're going to put this metal in your body, the adamantium. And so he goes into this procedure, and he survives and everything like that. And they're like, oh, let's wipe away his memory. And he heard that, and he starts going berserk and just leaves. And to me, the thing I don't get though, because in the first two X-Men movies, they established that like after he got adamantium put in his body, he finally escapes this place. And then you showed this imagery, like it's his flashback where when he pop out his claws for the first time, his metal claws, blood's all coming out, and he's like in so much pain. He's like, I love that. Like to me, I was like, oh, like that's just really awesome. Like to me, that's really interesting. But in this one, and like by then he already lost his memory because they already took it away before he escaped. But in this one, it's just he didn't get his memory wiped because they're like, we still have this movie to keep going with, so we're not gonna end it right there. And and then it like he even pops out his claws, and he's just looks at him like it was nothing. Like like I said, like in the flashback scene of the first two X-Men movies, it looked like it was hurting him. It was bleeding, and he was just like he was in so much pain. But in this one, he's just like, okay, no blood. And another thing too, the claws look so heavily fake, like so bad. Like the CGI on them looks so bad, which is so it just like blows my mind. Cause like I just said, in the first three X movies, they always look so fucking good. Like they look real, they look there. Like, and then you get to this one, and it's just like no, like you like no, it looks really fake, and I'm just like I don't know why that always bugs me. I wrote down notes so like just see what. Um, yeah, he got his new claws, and then so he's like, oh, I'm gonna try. Now he needs to find Saber. Oh, he ends up actually crashing into this barn, Mom and Pa's Ken's barn, and they're like, oh, and this is how he gets his leather jacket in the original trilogy. This is how he's like all about motorcycles. That's weird, and they'd be nice to him, and you're like, oh yeah, they're gonna die. Which, what happens? They die. So it's kind of just like, okay, like whatever. And so he's like, okay. So he goes to Will I Am to like figure out like what can they do. And then this is where you see the Blob. Like he's fat, and it's not because of his mutation. It's just because he decided he got depressed for some reason, and he just started like eating a lot. And I don't know why they changed it to that way. I guess cause like I said, like the Blob in the cartoons and stuff like that, he's mutant genius, like having him being like really fat, but like kind of more like kind of really indestructible. Like you can't do stuff to hurt him. You have to figure out other ways to hurt him. And so, but in this one, it's like he was already indestructible. It's just the reason he's all fat is because he just started eating a lot. So I'm like, I don't know why they changed it. I was like, okay, whatever. And then they have like this goofy ass shit where it's like, where Wolverine wants to get some information out of him, but he's like, nah, I'm not. So they had to have like this boxing fight with each other, which is like, what? And to me, the fact that I'm like, this is so ridiculous. I'm just like, oh god, like why? And you see Wolverine with like boxing gloves try to fight the Blob, and I'm just like, oh god. It's so stupid. It's pretty funny, but just like, why are we doing this? Like, why? Well, I digress. So, and then Wolverine ends up beating him because he's full of bones. So every time he's full of metal. We're all full of bones, hopefully, but he's full of metal. So every time I think he ends up headbutting him, and he's just like, oh, like takes him out. And he ends up going top of the rope like he's a fucking wrestler, does an elbow drop on his head. I just started laughing. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I expect this shit with the WWE, but not with fucking Wolverine. Anyways. He got information out, and they're like, they said like, well, you need to go see this other guy again. But like, and this fucker needs to go to all kinds of places just to just to stop, Sabretooth. Oh, and here's another thing too. You end up finding out later, like Sabretooth and Stryker are working together. Which I'm like, so what was the whole point of recruiting Wolverine and putting adamantium inside him. Like, why? You guys wanted him dead, and like I guess they like okay. Stryker's plan is just to get a lot of samples from like these other mutants, so they could create this one indestructible killing machine that will follow his orders. I could get that. But it's just like, but why give him adamantium though? Like, what was the whole point of making Wolverine more indestructible than he already was? Like, to me, it's just like, well, it's because Wolverine needs to have claws. Like, he needs to have metal claws. That's kind of, it's like, oh, okay, well, like, you. I felt like they knew what they're kind of doing, but at the same time, they're kind of destroying a lot of shit just to be like, oh, let's throw this one in. Let's throw this one in. Oh, let's throw this mutants in. Let's do. It's kind of, it just makes it really so unfocused. Like, you don't know what you're wanting to do. You're kind of just like, you guys have like so many, it seemed like they had so many ideas for this movie, and they decided to just like, well, let's throw it all into this one, which is like, okay, whatever. So then next, Wolverine ends up going to go see Gambit, and I'm a huge fan of Gambit. He was a part of the team of the X-Men the anime series, so I was a really huge fan. Like, the Gambit in this movie, I don't think he does bad. I think he does pretty good. His Cajun accent comes in there, and that's how you expect from these movies already. Um, but I thought he was pretty good. Like, I was like, oh, like, he's like him, like seeing him, and obviously having Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in this movie is kind of like one of like the saving graces of these movies, of this movie in particular. So I'll give him that. I like, to me, just seeing Wolverine with Gambit, I think that was just pretty fucking awesome. Even though it's kind of like you could just taken that whole plot out, like you could just taken Gambit out and not change a goddamn thing about this movie, because we got like so many other things in this movie. But like I said, it was still fucking awesome seeing Gambit. Um, and then so Gambit takes him to this island where they're having all these other mutants getting experimented on by Stryker so he could create this ultimate mutant. And then they get there, and then Wolverine confronts him, and then he finds out that the wife that got killed earlier wasn't actually killed. She was knocked out, but she was actually working with Stryker previously, just so she could, and that's why she got with Wolverine, just so she could keep tabs on him and stuff like that. And it kind of just like, you're kind of just like, oh, it's supposed to be like this whole like shocking moment, like, oh, she's still alive and she's actually working with Stryker and stuff like that. And to me, I was like, I didn't really care about she in the first place, because it's not like she's a bad actress, nothing like that. It just, the script doesn't really flesh her out. They like when she's first introduced, she's already with Wolverine. They have a 6-year time jump, so you don't even, like, you're just like, okay, that's cool. Well, at least she's getting laid. So it's just like, when she died and everything, and then you end up finding out she's not dead. It's like, okay, like, you just don't care. Like, I didn't care. So, and to me, I'm a big superhero fan. I'm a big Wolverine fan, and the fact I'm always trying to find the good things about these superhero movies all the time. And the fact that I'm like, oh, I don't really care. Like, what makes you think like a regular going movie guy will care about this? You know? So it was kind of like whatever, and so you end up finding out this mutant that Stryker's creating is Wade Wilson, Deadpool. So I love Deadpool. Deadpool's awesome. He breaks the fourth wall. He's hilarious. But this Deadpool that we get to see in this movie is not Deadpool at all. Like, at all. Not even close. And I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, and like, when I was watching the movie, and like I was seeing the extras, and I wanted to see what they had to say about them going like this direction with Deadpool. I wanted to see what was their excuse for this. And the only thing I could gather is just like, well, it's an origin movie, so this is not the final Deadpool, but this is the origin of Deadpool. So we'll get there, but this is where we're starting off. And I'm like, But this ain't Deadpool. This is not how he starts. This is not nothing. Cause like the reason I say that is because not only that, he has like this long ass fucking claw coming out that's full and which Deadpool does not have from both his hands. He even has laser beams like Cyclops. Oh, here's another thing. Cyclops is in this movie because we didn't have enough mutants in this fucking. We didn't have enough characters in this movie already, just getting shoved in there. And then he could teleport like he's fucking like Nightcrawler. Well, he takes the they got that power from fucking Will.i.am in this movie, and it's just like, and they showed his fucking mouth shut, like it just like, and he's just like a machine that Stryker's controlling by the computer, like he's face to face with Wolverine. He's just standing there until Stryker like puts down like, oh yeah, kill Wolverine. So he goes after him. Like I was like, this ain't Deadpool. You don't want to be like, well, this is the origin of Deadpool. Like Deadpool doesn't have none of this. He's not controlled by computers. He's not. I was like, what the fuck? Like to me, I always thought that was so odd. Like when I first watched this when I was in 5th grade, I had no idea. Like. And then when I saw the character, I was like, "Who the fuck is this?" Like, I had no idea. I literally thought it was just a made up character for the movie. Until years later, when I rewatched it, it was like, that's Deadpool. That's supposed to be fucking. That's the same guy from the earlier. Like, what? I just never understood that. And then so they have this big ass fight scene where it's Deadpool against Wolverine, and then Sabretooth's like, well, I'm gonna fight with Wolverine because I don't want anyone else killing him. It's gonna be me. And I'm like, okay, like, fuck off. Like, it's supposed to be kind of like Vegeta and Goku from Dragon Ball Z, but I was like, whatever, who cares? So they have this big old fight with him, and then Wolverine ends up like cutting his head off, and I'm like, okay, cool. And even like oh my god, the CGI is so bad in this one. Like, everywhere, like a lot of places that they're at, I'm like, that's not a real place. Like you could tell, they just look at it. It's like it's not real, and it's just like, what the fuck. Oh, and then even Charles Xavier, like, cause like I mentioned earlier, they had all these mutants stuck there, so they finally do escape, and Charles Xavier was there to save them, and so you see a Charles Xavier, and I don't know why they tried to de-age Patrick Stewart, like make him look younger. It's like he looks the exact same as he did in because this whole movie is supposed to take place in the 80s, but he looks the exact same, like exact same. So there's no point of trying to make it like his face look like CGI his face to make him look younger. It just makes him look weirder. It just does. So yeah, you saw that, and you're probably thinking like, well, I was thinking this, like, okay, how does Wolverine lose his fucking memory then? Like, cause he has no memories at all, right? In the first 3 X-Men movies, when you first see him. And this is because Stryker Bill made a bullet made out of adamantium, and he's gonna shoot him and he ends up shooting him in the head like twice, I think. Yeah, he ends up shooting him in the head twice, and that's how he loses his memory. He even says like, this is how he's gonna lose his memory. And I was always like, what? Like, what? Like, I didn't understand that. To me, I still don't get it. Like, like the bullet's made out of the same material that's in his body, and that's how he's gonna forget, like, take away his memories. I was like, whatever. Like, they had to tie it into the first one, right? And so it's kind of like, whatever. Oh god. But anyways, honestly, and take a shot every time Wolverine screams out, "Victor!" He says it so much, it was getting annoying. I was like, shut up. But anyways, like I said, some of the positives I have is just Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. That's always gonna be a huge positive. Like, you could tell he actually tried to bring it, like trying to bring something to this movie. The dude that plays Sabretooth, I thought he was pretty good. Like, he wasn't that bad. It's just a script he got. It was kind of just like, whatever. like there's some good elements to it. I think there was something to tell, but it's just like they're just putting way too much in there, and it's kind of just like going all out. And this origin movie was supposed to be the first of many X-Men origin movies. Like they were supposed to come out with like, I think I heard like they were coming out like they were supposed to come out with like X-Men Origins Magneto, X-Men Origins Storm, but this movie did so bad. Like it did so bad like box office wise. It did so bad like even like critics wise. So they're just like, yeah, they just cancel all like the origin movies, which I think that was a good good way to go. And but to me, I do watch it here and there just to get a good laugh. But there's a lot of parts I do skip because honestly, it really drags out. And after I'm done watching, I'm like, oh god, I won't watch it again for like another like 2 years or something. I just have this movie just to be part of my X-Men collection. So yeah, I will honestly give X-Men Origins Wolverine a, what did I give it, like, oh yeah, 4.8 out of 10. The more I think about it, it'd probably go down to like a 4.5 out of 10. But yeah, like it's not a good movie. I would definitely skip it. I do not recommend it. I mean, I guess if you're a big X-Men fan, you're a big superhero fan like I am, give it a watch. Like maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll find you might like it slightly better than me. How you might think it's like fucking awesome and good for you. You know, I think that's cool. Like I'm not gonna be bashing you like you think that movie's fucking great. No, like I'm not. But I just see it like if you could find enjoyment to it, good for you. But I it's kind of hard for me. But yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed me ranting and raving about X-Men Origins Wolverine. And my next one for the X-Men reviews. I will talk about X-Men First Class, and I can't wait to talk about that one. That's definitely one of my favorite ones, especially after this one. Well, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope hope to see you guys next time. I can never talk. I don't know why, but I hope to see you guys next time, and hope you like and subscribe. So, yep. Have a great day, guys.